hunting,
fishing,
cooking,
camping,
conservation,
travel,
gardening,
photography, family.
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 This is the Outdoor Rules Podcast. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. As we mentioned last week, this is going to be the second of a two-part episode with Mark, Rachel, and Rachel's mom, Erika. If you haven't listened to the first part yet, I would suggest you do that. Go back and check it out. Really interesting stuff about her life growing up in Germany and all the outdoor stuff they did and how that led into a lifelong passion for gardening and for preserving food. This episode will get much more into canning, especially. So, yeah, really, really cool episode for you this week, and really appreciate you all listening. We are, as this one comes out, Caitlin and the boys and I are in Pennsylvania with the rest of the family, there to enjoy Thanksgiving in a couple of days, and then the deer opener as well. We're going to try to get Robert out and see how that goes. So, yeah, stick with the podcast. Lots more content coming up real soon. So, thanks for listening. Here we go.
Let's dip real quick into, before we move to canning, because your canned meat is just phenomenal and people need to hear this. But I want to talk a little bit about the brief hunting experiences that you've had. I was there for your deer and then the two other types of animals that you've shot. So
yes.
I do remember your deer experience being a one and done. It was not a great experience.
Yes. My deer experience was not good because I really didn't want to shoot that particular deer because to me it was not big enough.
Yeah. And this wasn't a buck. This was just
a doe.
Not a fully mature, nice juicy doe.
But by the person that was along with me, I got pressure to shoot, and I said I can never do that again. And then I killed an alligator
In Florida.
Yes, we went to Florida
to Kissimmee, right?
Okeechobee.
I knew it had a bunch of repeating letters.
Okeechobee, yes. And Rachel and I had the same guide, and you pay alligator by foot. And the guide's supposed to tell you which alligator. They figure they can tell from the nostrils to the eyes the size of the alligator.
Roughly an inch translates to how many feet in length the alligator is.
So he pointed out to one alligator, says, "Yeah, that's the one you want." I said, "All right."
You paid for, what was it?
Seven
foot alligator.
So he was supposed to tell me which one is a 7-foot alligator because you only see the head. And so when I shot him, he kept just spinning and spinning, and then we hooked him and he went under the embankment, but he was dead already. I said, "Is he dead?" Because it freaked me out how much they
spin and roll.
Roll. And when he pulled him out, he goes, "Oh boy, I'm in trouble." Because the alligator was bigger than what I paid for.
It was like a 10-foot alligator.
And I don't eat the cost. It's the outfitter has to eat that cost. And then wild boar. So I'm sitting. They take you out in the dark.
We went together when you shot your boar, right?
But that wasn't when I was sitting on that tree in the stand, in that thing by myself, in
the palmettos.
In the palmettos, you're sitting. It was dark. They drop you off, and I'm like,
all kinds of noises you're not used to hearing.
And then I'm saying, "Oh, here comes my wild boar." I hear all this noise, and I turn around. Oh my gosh, it was a little armadillo. But because of all the leaves from the palm trees make so much noise. And then I had to walk back. They didn't come pick me up. And I was a little freaked out because you're out there on these wild boars. I said, okay, well. But then one time, I don't know, we were picked up. And then on the way back, we saw the wild boar running. And on the way back to the lodge, I shot wild boar with nice tusk. Alligator, it's not worth even spending your time eating the tail. They say, oh, the alligator tail is so good. No, it's not worth it. It's like chewing on a old sneaker or something.
Were the bigger ones better or worse?
I think
You can only eat the tail.
Yeah, you can only eat the tail, but I think I recall them saying that the smaller the alligator, the better.
The more tender.
Yeah, the more tender, which is why we didn't pay for large-sized alligators. We weren't trophy hunting, but and then what did you do with your alligator? I got my hide tanned.
Well, here is the story. This alligator was flat-mounted, full-size on the board.
Like a rug on a board.
Yes, with the head and everything.
10-foot alligator.
And so we had it hanging in our entry room in our other house before we downsized. We had a perfect spot. So then...
I don't remember it.
Oh,
hanging right when you come in the front door.
It was obnoxious.
I don't know if I ever came in the front door.
Maybe you always came in you were a side door.
Yeah, you guys didn't live there very long.
Yeah. Well, we lived there very long, but not
when we were
until
together.
That,
Sure,
yes.
Right.
So I said, well, when we move, what are we going to do with this dang alligator? So I'm going to tell this thing. I didn't do it, but I thought, wow, how funny would it be to take it out at night, push their board into the Susquehanna River, and people go out in the morning fishing, and there's this 10-foot alligator floating on the board. Well,
because all that would have shown is like the back and the nose.
Yes, I would have been talking to you now from jail, probably.
I think you briefly considered just we did a lot of kayaking on the Swati at that time. I think you thought about
having fun with it,
pulling it behind.
But we didn't. So a guy came
Craigslist.
On Craigslist, and he said, I want it. I said, okay, you have to have the right size vehicle. I said, you got to have a big vehicle. You know, you can't envision if you just hear a 10-foot alligator.
Right, but then the board around
yes,
and the outside. I mean, this was like a 12-foot piece of
and he came
art.
in one of these white vans, you know, and when he saw it, he said, okay. I said, just leave the doors hanging open. That's what he did. I just wanted that alligator to be gone. I didn't know what to do with it.
Stuck it head first out the back end, so scare people.
Yeah.
And for the boar, I only had the
skull
with the teeth. Yeah. So that was fun, but
you don't need to do it again. I remember you saying that you have no issue shooting animals that are big and mean and ugly, right? But you don't need to ever shoot like a deer again, or
no, don't want to shoot a deer again. And it was maybe because of my experience. It wasn't so
for
good.
sure.
Yes, I don't know. No. But an alligator, I mean, they're like Floridans are happy if you shoot their alligators, so they're gone. Same with the wild boars.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But as far as meat goes,
Not worth it.
Not worth it.
Yeah.
No.
But I mean, every deer I've killed since Rachel and I have been together, you've been a part of cutting it up, and with the exception of a few that we ended up taking to process for various reasons. But for the most part, I mean, every deer you've had a hand in.
In fact, she's
deboning, quartering.
She's the matriarch of the butchering party. We're like, okay,
tell
us what to do. She takes charge. We put on music. We have the whole counter, covered in butcher paper, and we just get put to work.
One of my favorite photos I have of CJ, she's probably 3, and she has a Melissa and Doug wooden knife, and it was you and myself and CJ standing around the butcher block at our old apartment or our old house, rental house, and just going to town.
Now that leads into, because once we're cutting all the meat off the bone and everyone's doing, their vacuum sealing, or they're trimming fat off of it, or they're putting it in chunks to be ground up later, or, we're cooking the heart right on the skillet as we're, processing, we're having a snack. But you're cutting the meat off the bones. That's like your job. Like everything starts with you, and you're the only one who does it well. I'm going to be frank about that.
Yeah, you do it way better than I. You have a knack for it that I don't. That's for sure.
So what have we started doing, with all that? Tell us about your deboning process, and then canning it?
I mean, deboning, you'll have to be like, you said when we did it last time, depends what you want to do with it. You have to be careful how you cut your meat off. If you want roasts, you don't want to cut into that, part. So you have to look. But if you just grind everything for whatever you do, bologna or burger or something, you don't have to be as careful.
Yeah.
Yes. And when you debone in order to make bone broth, you do not want to cut all the meat off. You want to leave a little bit on to, because it gives you more flavor in the broth than you having just the,
Bone marrow and stuff.
Total cleaned off
Yeah.
bones, yes. So just always depends what you want to do with it, how careful you want to be, how you take it apart.
Do you stick them straight into the fridge or the freezer, or do you roast them or anything like that?
Well, this time we
You're
didn't.
talking about the bones.
Yeah.
Yeah, this time we didn't freeze them because
We were doing it
we
quickly.
do the bone broth right away. So I roast the bones first with the vegetables. So we put in carrots, celery, onions, and garlic. So you rub the bones with olive oil and the vegetables too. You just toss it and then put salt and pepper on it. Some people put nothing on it, but you can also put other herbs on it, like rosemary and thyme and things like that. And then you roast them till they're like caramelized, like have a golden brown.
The onions.
In the
No,
stove.
Yes, in the stove.
At like 350?
350, yeah.
And how long does that normally take?
I mean, depends on the size
Sure.
of bone.
Let's just talk about a whitetail.
Whitetail, I think like 30 to 45 minutes.
Okay.
And you can start to smell it a little bit when the meat.
Do you have the vegetables in there?
Yeah, I put my vegetables in there. Some
I have
people
pictures of it like all in this big, those.
on the roasting pans.
Yeah, the
You
roasting
bake
pan.
the roasting pan
I roast the bones with the vegetables, yes.
in the roasting
In the-
pan.
Well, I used the oven this time to roast them.
Those big metal trays we have with high sides.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Just like a cookie sheet.
Yes,
Or
you
a
can
baking
use on a baking pan, cookie
baking
sheet,
pan.
whatever
Yeah,
you
okay.
I'm
have.
really struggling to find the name for this thing, but yeah, it had high sides.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I thought you were
Roasting pan.
describing the roasting
The
pan
roaster.
that then she then puts
Yes.
the bones in to roast them,
And-
to make the broth.
Yes, and then you put your bones. I mean, we put it this time in a roaster, but you can do it in big stock pots if you have them. And the smaller you cut the bones, of course, we didn't have to cut them, so you kind of had them already.
Yeah, I didn't know if you cut the.
I
the-
did
we
just chop them up because
Yeah.
when they came out of the oven, because my roasting pan,
stock pot,
wasn't, so you have to make them that they fit in.
and you don't want whole bones.
No, because you
So
want the marrow
you
to
want
come
the marrow
out.
to come out. You want the
Yes.
innards of the bone to come out. So it is important to at some point.
Oh, yes, you have to
either
open up the
roast them
bones.
first or before.
Yeah.
So like obviously with the deer bone, let's just say we're taking a front shoulder. You're going to on the hoof side of the femur. You're going to cut somewhere in there because there's no meat there. So you're going to cut that off and take the hoof out. Then so that's up to the first knuckle, and then the shoulder blade. No, the bone going to the shoulder blade. You're going to roast that, or you're going to cut it and then roast it.
Yes, you can do. I mean, it depends on your cookie sheet. We had a big pan to roast it in the oven, so we could put it
in whole.
whole. But then I chopped them up. Well, see, since I
Before you
pulled
put
them
them
out,
in, before you made them
yeah,
into
so
broth,
that
into
marrow
the
can
stock.
go out. Yes, you can probably do either way. But I think wouldn't want my marrow. If I had space enough, I don't cut it before I roast it because I don't want my marrow
Right.
running onto
Yeah,
my.
but you're
Yes.
going to lose some.
Yes.
The more whole you can keep it in the roasting
Yes.
process, the less good
Marrow,
stuff
yes,
marrow
you lose.
you're
Gets
going to
lost,
lose.
yeah.
Yes.
Right. So it's better if you can to keep that bone whole as long as
Yes.
possible.
And then cut it for the.
But you do have to,
stock pot.
at some
Yes.
point, you do have to cut it or you won't get the marrow out of it.
Yes.
Right.
That's right. And then you dump the vegetables and everything in your stock pot or in your roasting, electric roaster, whatever you want to do with, and that's when you put your spices in. Now, I did not put too many spices in this time, because if you put in a lot of thyme, sage, rosemary, then when you have your broth, of course you have that flavor in it. Then if you want to use it for something else that normally doesn't get those spices, you kind of limit it yourself.
Yeah.
So
and last year with the bone broth that we made, we didn't actually use it for too much other than drinking straight bone broth, because it's so delicious and flavorful. And I think we had a pretty hefty sickness season last winter.
It was 2 years ago, actually.
2 years
but yeah.
ago,
Yeah, and I just remember making cans of, opening cans of venison broth that we had made and having that when we were sick. But I'm excited to now have this bone broth that can be used for, other things, because it's not, super
yes,
seasoned.
we didn't put those things in. So people sometimes say, when you make your own broth, it doesn't taste like when you open bone broth from a store. The reason is that they use their bone broth and now season it before they use it. It will be the same way with your bone broth. When you open it, it's not probably as salty as you like it or whatever. So when you use it, you have all the health benefits, and then you add salt
You
and
can add
pepper.
whatever you want, right? Gives you a little more flexibility how you use it.
It does, and especially seasoning when you can. The canning process will intensify it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then when the broth was done, of course, you want to strain all that stuff off.
So you've roasted it. You've put it into your stock pot. You're going to add a certain amount of water.
Yeah, till the bones are covered.
Till the bones are covered.
Of course, the less water, the stronger the. But
Sure.
those bones should be covered at least 1 to 2 inches
Okay.
of water.
And then whatever seasonings you want, if I didn't say that already. And then
1
you're going
to 2 inches of water
Above
over
above
the bones.
the bones.
Okay.
yes.
And then so if you wanted really intense bone broth and you had a big stock pot, you'd cut them real small, put them in there, cover them an inch. If you want a thinner, you don't have to cut them quite as small. You're kind of you can your concentrate, or however you want to say that. You can change. You can adjust.
You can adjust that exactly.
So then you bring them to a boil,
You bring them to a boil. Have to come to a full boil.
and then turn them down.
And then you turn it down to simmer, anywhere from 12 to 24 hours on simmer.
And the longer you simmer,
The more
concentrate you're going to get.
Yes, exactly. I mean, you can do it up to 48 hours, but you have to have a space,
Right, and the heat source.
Especially if you would use a stock pot.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to leave your stove on for 48 hours
Right.
when you go away. So it has to be something that would be a safe way. Now, this one I made here in my house. When I did Dan's, we put it in his garage. He has we set it in the garage and not in the house. I don't know why we did that.
Was it because of the dogs?
The dogs. And then you have to like the smell. And they do like the smell, but you will smell that broth for 48,
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But 12 hours, I would say, I would do my broth never less than 12 hours. You can do it overnight.
So then you strain it. You let it cool. You strain it. And then in the case of the stuff you did this year, 2 years ago, we froze it. We actually put it in Ziploc baggies and froze it.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah.
And then you could just unthaw it and then use it however you wanted there. This year, you canned it.
Yes.
So you let it cool, you strained it, and then...
Yeah, and you don't even have to let it totally cool to strain it.
Oh, sure. Right. Yeah,
and
sure.
you want to use a cheesecloth. And buy a cheap one so you throw it all out. You don't want to wash it out. Because the cheesecloth will hold all... Let's say there are little bone fragments that come off. If you just use a sieve, you might not get all these pieces
fragments
out.
and such.
Interesting.
Yes, and let that drop. I mean, they're not that expensive.
No.
And for something like that, I would not reuse them because all the meat and everything is
Sticks in it.
Yeah, now that meat that comes off the bones is really delicious.
I'm sure.
Yeah, well, we gave it to Hatch. I
Yeah, I'm
guess.
sure Hatch ate well.
So then, what I didn't do this year, I don't know. So there are two ways to do it. So when it's all done and you strained it, you can either let it totally cool in the refrigerator, and then before you can it, and then scoop the fat off, and then can it. I didn't do
not.
that. So you
There's
have the
heavy fat
Yes,
layer
but
on
you
top.
can scoop that off.
Yeah.
That helps seal the
Yeah. Well,
seal the meat in. Or
and
the broth.
so it won't hurt it, but some people don't like to see that fat. But you can scoop that off now when you open a can.
Yeah.
So then you can it, and because it's a kind of meat product, so you have to hot can it, which means your broth has to be hot, your jars have to be hot,
And then you pressure can it.
Yes, it's pressure canned. Anything with meat has to be pressure canned.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody tells you something else, then good luck.
You're taking the risk into your own hands.
Yes, you do that. And broth, if there's no meat in it, you strain everything out. You can it at our altitude, at 10 psi for 25 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, so she has traveled out to Wyoming to be with Dan and Vanessa when they were canning. Were you canning elk?
We
Bison?
are bison and elk
Buffalo,
already, yes.
Yeah, so she's gone out and helped Vanessa can in Wyoming because Vanessa just didn't trust herself with the altitude changing, the canning recipes she was following. So,
But now she got it down pat.
Yeah,
And you will be the same way. You do it next time all on your own, and we teach CJ, then, she can do it.
Yeah.
I want to
Actually,
blow the house up.
Oh,
Well,
you won't blow the house up. We'll just blow holes in it.
These pressure cookers now, they all have a safety thing. When my mom pressure cooked, no safety. We ended up with spaghetti sauce on the ceiling one
my.
year. So it's pretty straightforward.
So when you do deer meat, let's say, I know we've done burger, and we've done it as taco meat, and we've done it as just straight burger
I love
already.
the cubes, though. Oh, it's the
And-
best stroganoff.
And I've seen you do whole sections of like a roast already, and then you cook the meat.
Well, there are two
So
methods.
okay, yeah, hold on. Let me see. The burger we cooked, and the taco meat we cooked, and then you pressure canned. And I've seen stroganoff, which is obviously cooked, but I've also seen chunks of meat where we just pulled it out and it was ready to use.
Yes, it depends what you want to do with it. Burger, I would always recommend at least brown it because it changes the texture of a burger.
Do you brown and strain it,
Or
or do you keep the juice? You keep the
Yeah, you can
juices.
put the juice
Okay.
in it. But if you don't brown the burger first, it gives it the texture is different. So some people like even their cube meat browned first, but to me that's a step that I don't necessarily need, especially if depends what you use it for. And if you brown it first, then you have to put liquid to it. I do not brown it. Let's say the cubes. I pack the cubes into the jar, and you want to see that they're approximately maybe the same size or whatever. You know, you're not going to have one that's 4 inches and one that's
Right.
inch
You're
and a
looking for
half.
inch by inch or
Yes.
2 inch by 2 inch
Yes.
pieces,
And
consistent.
You pack them into your jar raw. That's called raw canning, raw packing. Your jars with pressure canning, you don't have to make sure that your jars are sterilized. They have to be washed. But the pressure is so high that it sterilizes it.
Sure.
So raw canning, which we have done, is basically you put the raw meat in the jars. You do not put liquid to it. I don't even put salt on it because let's say you want to use it for I don't know what stuff, like for beef tacos,
Yeah.
or for vegetable soup, the spices are different.
Yeah.
So you just pack it in, no liquid at all, and then meat has to be pressure cooked, always pressure cooked, and at our altitude, 10 psi, but for 90 minutes.
And that'll cook it through.
Cook it through, yeah.
Yeah.
So then when you see it, when you open the canner, always wait, of course, till the gauge is back to 0. You will see you have all this broth to the very, very, top. And that broth, of course, depends what you do. And if you use it for tacos, you can pour it away. If you use it for soup, you dump it right in. Then you can use it for a lot of things. But you can make ready-made meals where everything is cooked. You can
Soup. Stroganoff.
stew, anything ready-made, and then you just pop the lid and heat it up.
Heat it up.
How long would you say, start with bone broth. How long would you say that the bone broth will be good for, canned? Kept it in a decent...
Yeah. Okay. Maybe the ag, that set these things will give you a different number, but you can keep it years. As
okay.
long as the seal is not broken.
Okay.
And it's when you open a can, one of your home canned goods,
You'll know if it's
you
too
will know.
easy.
Yes, it'll hit you if it's bad, or you see stuff that means the seal broke.
I'm not looking for you to say, oh, you'll be good 50 years from now.
No,
Obviously,
no.
we wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it.
Several years.
2-3 years is a safe bet.
I have eaten, actually, we had some deer stew back in the very back here that I canned when you still lived in Anvil, and we had that. You cannot tell.
So probably 5 years.
Yeah, and if you keep it in the right temperature and no sunlight, you'll be good for a while.
And then I will say, it does. There is a. If you're squeamish, which you're probably not listening to our podcast anyway, but
Yeah, that's probably true.
it does look kind of gross.
It has a different look, yes.
Yeah, I've definitely had people over, and they would be like, "No, I'm not eating that."
If you were going to eat it for the first time and you looked at it, you would look at that and go, "I don't know about that." But once you've eaten it, it will change your life. Like you'll be like, "I'll
so
eat this.
good.
This is so simple." Once it's done, obviously, like the prep and all that stuff, it's not simple. But as far as getting it out to make it and use it and however you're going to use it, it's so simple and so good.
Right.
And so moist. But
someone who's never seen it, it kind of looks like some creepy jar that your science teacher has.
Finding Frankenstein's lab or
Exactly.
something. Right. Yeah.
But you can for Vanessa, I can skinless, boneless chicken thigh because they eat so much.
Chicken. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, they eat so much elk and bison and all that antelope that this is nice for them.
I gotcha,
It's
yeah.
the same thing. You just dump the chicken thigh, boneless, skinless. If you can get a really good deal, it would be a great money saver.
Right.
You buy a 40-pound case, you raw can it, and it's the most delicious thing.
We really want to put in some sort of cold storage here on the property, and that I think will increase.
Dig it into a hill.
Dig it into the hill where the earth,
Yes,
it
yes.
stays at a nice 50 degrees, and once that's done, we're really gonna step up our canning game, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, and you can step up other things then, because potatoes, if you have potatoes, pumpkin, all that stuff apples in a cold cellar storage. I mean, we had dirt cellar where I grew up. All that can be saved from. You can have apples for the whole winter long, and they taste fresh. Same.
Yeah, we
with
bought
your
all
potatoes.
as a
Yes.
kid. We bought all our potatoes from my dad's cousin Jeff at one point in the year. Obviously, the spring, summer, early summer, and then those potatoes. We didn't buy potatoes pretty much the rest of the year,
Yes, and
unless
you-
we were going somewhere. Then we, but for
Yeah.
the most part, you
a lot
can
of your
keep stuff like that a
produce,
long
stuff
time.
like that for a long time. And
Did you notice a difference in flavor, or is it the bison or the elk or the deer? Is there one you prefer? Or I don't know. Did you do antelope bones? Bone broth?
No, did we do the antelope? We did the elk, and we did, I think, part of the bison. I don't know. I don't know if you could taste. You probably cannot taste the difference.
You don't think you'd notice a difference?
No, because if you would make your own beef broth versus venison broth, I don't know if you could.
It'd be interesting because
Maybe a little bit. I don't know.
So growing up, it was always like, oh, well, I'm eating a organic wild animal, right? But the deer we shoot are farm raised. They're basically eating what a cow eats. So it is a different.
Not farm raised like high fence farm.
No.
Clarify that.
Right. No, they're not high, but they're eating what a cow eats. They're eating corn.
The corn.
They're eating field corn. They're eating field soybeans. They're eating the rye and the winter wheat and the same stuff a cow would eat on a farm. So I wonder if like an elk or a bison, something that is truly organic, if you would notice a difference in the flavor of the broth. I just wonder that. I
don't know, because actually I can her their broth. But I don't.
We'll have to have her bring a can. We'll see if they'll bring a can in and we can do a
I
side by
don't
side.
know.
Antelope really interests me because
You like sage.
I
love
love
antelope.
sage.
I think they love antelope.
Yeah, and I shot 2 antelope.
Pronghorn or something too.
Yeah, pronghorn.
Yeah,
Antelope.
I've shot 2 of them, and I loved the meat that came from them because I just really like sage.
I wonder. I never asked this. Did he eat? I mean, I assume they ate the goat that he shot. I wonder how that meat is. I've never heard anybody talk about that. But
No.
I don't know if they ate
yeah,
it.
there's a lot of
We'll
people.
have to ask him in a podcast.
There's a lot of people. We actually have a very interesting podcast idea. We'll get into that for Dan. There's people who are who stick their nose up at antelope, but I've always thought antelope was very good. It's the same with bears. You hear a lot of people talk bad about black bear. Every black bear I've ever eaten was very good.
It was very good.
I'm sure if you shot a black bear that lived near a town and ate garbage all the time, they might be a little bit different. But all the bears I've ever eaten were very good.
Oh, talking about canning, one thing I want to say too: if you shoot an old animal, so Vanessa's elk was
Very old,
12 years old,
It had no teeth left.
and
Beautiful bull.
we raw canned cubes, and the one jar doesn't seal. That happens sometimes. It's not fault of anybody. There could be maybe a little fat or just,
Right, sure.
Yes. So we just stuck that in the fridge, and they did eat it. And she said, you wouldn't believe, you couldn't tell it was the most tender meat they had. So if you shoot an old animal, canning it will tenderize it, that you can, you have no waste that way.
It is the meat eaters. I just heard them talking about this. They were somewhere where a guy shot a young animal and a guy shot an old animal, and they cooked them, blind tested them, and they think it's kind of somewhat a myth that one's
More tender than the other?
more disgusting than the other, because everybody preferred the older buck to the younger buck. So I don't know. I think there's
Well, that's what
many.
you were saying, that old elk was just so tender.
And maybe it has something to do with what they eat, because we bought
Sure.
one. Somebody talked us into a grass-fed Highlander. I think half of it went to the wolf sanctuary. You couldn't eat that thing.
just so tough.
Oh, it was tough and dry, and it's like wasn't worth the money.
What are some of your favorite things to eat wild game wise? Do you have anything you really, really enjoy?
I think I like anything. There's nothing. I mean, I like it as a taco. I like it as a steak.
But like quail or
Quail, wild thing.
elk.
Well,
or-
I like quail, but okay.
not worth it.
It's a lot of effort
work.
for a little bird, you know. One thing I know, it's definitely not wild turkey. Had that, and that's not my favorite.
Yeah,
we
there's
made
some-
those into croquettes. That was like the only decent way to eat them.
Yeah, Mike makes them into like a
Croquettes we made out of that.
he makes it into a Mexican dish that's pretty
something.
good.
Well, if you flavor anything with salsa and sour cream,
It-
it's going to taste
right.
good.
And there again, there could be a difference between a New Mexican bird and an Eastern,
Yeah, for sure.
Eastern bird in flavor profile. But
and I think I probably like mule deer out there and more than an elk. Yeah.
did they keep the tongue of her bull elk? Do you know?
I
hear
don't know. They
really,
kept the bison tongue.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
Did you eat it?
Well, they had it before I got there, so I never had it. But
did they like it? Do you know?
They loved it, yes.
Did they? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people talk about
And hard.
elk tongues are really, a lot of guys, when they help, ask for the tongue now because it's such a good quality piece of meat. And I know you like tongue. So.
Yeah, I like tongue. I like hard.
One year I cut 3 deer tongues out. We had killed 3 deer. We harvested 3 deer right in a row. And I had kept those 3 deer tongues to the side. And then when I came down to it, I looked at them and like, this seems like a lot of work because it's such a little tongue, Yeah. And then till you
take the skin and the
right.
thing off.
I can't think of it. I want to say braise, but it's not braise. Where you boil it.
Yeah.
Flash boil it to pull the skin off, and then once it's cleaned, then you cook it. So you think you're losing. You got this little tongue, and then you're losing a layer off of it. Yet on top of that, it just seems like too much work.
Yeah, but I eat. I grew up eating hard, kidney, liver, all those good things.
Yeah, we've kept livers. I kept a chunk of liver one time, and I think we made it, and it just deer liver wasn't my favorite thing in the world.
We've also kept the caul fat.
That was
made
good.
Caul fat meatballs. They were fantastic.
They were good.
The day that we made it, leftovers not so great.
Yeah, they get real greasy.
It's the fat.
Yeah, but
would make it.
They were
like that.
fantastic.
Yeah, they were good the day we had them. What's something is there anything you're excited to try next? I know we keep throwing around the freeze dryer idea.
Well, I don't really know. What haven't we tried? we tried a lot of stuff. I would like to do more dehydrating.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm probably more of a dehydrator than a freeze dry person, eating wise.
Yeah. We got turnips. You can try dehydrating those into.
Yes,
I got
chips.
a bumper
You
crop.
can make chips out of them. And because freeze dry or something, it's fairly new for the common household.
That's my next venture.
Yeah.
I want to try.
I mean, I tried some freeze dried.
So bad.
What do you call that candy?
Skittles. Yeah.
And they're really good. But
think of all the ice fishing meals we can make.
yes, but I had a freeze dry chicken, rotisserie chicken. And when I followed the directions on how to rehydrate it, I'm like, I was rather disappointed. Maybe I did it wrong, but I think for long term and storage space, it's a good thing. But I rather sink my teeth in something.
Yeah.
That you don't have to rehydrate.
You can buy a lot of freeze-dried meals for what the cost of one of those dehydrators.
Yes, and they use an enormous electricity, I
Oh,
understand.
yeah.
Yes, they just suck your electric.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. So.
Well, it's Jesse's electric that we'll be using because Jesse
I know.
said in his new garage he's leaving us a space for the freeze dryer.
Hey, as long as we don't have to make space for one.
What was the I just wondered this, I don't know if I've ever asked it. What was like the biggest cultural shock coming from Germany to America?
Oh, what's the biggest culture shock? There were so many.
I guess food wise would be you could narrow it down food wise.
Yes, food wise. The shock kind of really set in, not so much California, but moving to Lancaster County, Pennsylvania Dutch. Okay, I grew up with broccoli salad. Never had it with sugar in it and raisins. I was like, okay, this is really, really weird. You have to get used to it, or chow chow.
Ugh.
In this area.
I love chow chow.
Gross.
So I love shoofly pie. So food-wise, the other thing, of course, I grew up, Germans eat their main meal, most people, at lunchtime. I think this is how it used to be here years and years ago.
Sure, I'm sure it was.
Big
Right.
meal. And for working families in Germany, if you work for a large company, they have a canteen. So if both families work, nobody cooks in the evening because they already ate at work. But so I grew up not having big meals at night. And what was another food that I just
Couldn't get on board with.
corn, sweet corn. I eat 1 cob in the summer. 2 is max. It's just not. It's just you have to be. I think you had to grow up with sweet corn. We did not.
You
didn't
just
know
felt
what
like
sweet corn-
livestock eating it.
Yeah, it's field corn. But my very first horrible ever experience is when John and I were here for our wedding. My sister-in-laws thought, it's so cool to take this German chick to Hershey Park. No problem, go to Hershey Park. So then they thought, she's German. She has to have a hot dog with sauerkraut. First off, I'm used to sauerkraut that has some flavor, not just salt and vinegar. And then, what the heck is a hot dog? It's not a wiener. It's not a knockwurst. It's not a bratwurst. Hot dog is just not. It's just different.
It's not what you have.
No. So I get this hot dog. They say, you got to have this hot dog with sauerkraut. It made no sense with me. So I'm taking a bun, a very soft bun. And remember, I grew up with crusty sourdough bread. So I'm having this very soft, squishy, spongy-like bun. They slap in this
Meat
hot dog.
of unknown source.
And then they put this sauerkraut on that made my mouth just pucker just by watching it. It was so sour. It was really sour. Okay, so I eat it. Survived that, no problem. Then they had this brilliant idea. Let's go on the pirate ship. And I looked at this
boy.
thing. I was like, no, 999, nicht für mich. Oh, come on, you can do it. I said, 9, no. Oh, come on. All right, so we're going on this pirate ship. Mind you, I just had this very strange food with sauerkraut. We're going up. Pirate ship swings way to the right, way to the left. By the third time, it swung to the right. I was like, this is a flying hot dog and sauerkraut.
Oh, gross.
Mid-air.
Ugh.
So I think maybe that turned me off a little bit, although I like now hot dogs and sauerkraut. So that was definitely something they thought is very German, but to me it wasn't very German.
Yeah.
Because we don't.
How close is the Pennsylvania German, the PA Dutch, the Amish communities to
Language.
Well, just
the
culture, language, yeah, all the things. The food. I mean, the food
is nothing like
the food's
it.
nothing.
Well,
the same. I know, like you said, like
Yeah.
all of the when you get like an Amish made broccoli salad, there's quite a
There's sugar.
or any of the salads, there's a fair amount of sugar in it. It seems sweet.
And I have to say it's part German, but not the part I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
Where my dad's mom, Oma Lena, grew up in Elsass, so she's up north.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a southern west person, not all the way south, because that would be, Munich.
Of Schwäbisch dialect.
Yes, and she wasn't a Schwäbisch dialect; she had Elsass dialect. But so they do more of that kind of sugary stuff. But I didn't grow up like that. And as far as we have Amish neighbors here, their church holidays are exactly like German holidays.
Mm-hmm.
So they celebrate the same holidays. We don't celebrate here, but our Amish neighbors celebrate them. As in Germany, they have Christmas, the first holiday, second, so they have 2 days or Christmas. Christmas Eve is a big thing for the Amish rather than
Christmas
morning.
Mm-hmm.
Their Easter holidays are the same way. Now, the language, for me, I can understand some, but I grew up with a dialect that's called Schwäbisch. So in Germany, each region has their own dialect. Here, a Texan has an accent, I would call it. But in Germany, a dialect uses for certain things totally different words.
Okay.
So we all learn High German, of course, is
Hochdeutsch.
Hochdeutsch is the way we speak
Proper German.
in business and in school, but we don't speak that at home.
I guess it'd almost be like going Creole. Like
Yes.
the difference. It's not an accent. What you're saying, it's not an accent difference. It's almost a completely different style of speaking. You can understand it at points, but
Yes.
there's some stuff where it doesn't mesh up necessarily.
Yes. If I'm a Schwäbisch, I can easily understand a Bavarian, but you go to the North Sea, Baltic Sea, I have to really pay attention when they speak their dialect. So let's say, example is, so in High German to say, you greet somebody, you say Guten Tag. In my dialect, we say Grüß Gott. A Bavarian says Vierte. So between Vierte, Grüß Gott, Guten Tag,
Completely different.
completely
Right.
different.
Mhm.
So that's how that is. But the Schwäbisch dialect has a lot of the same words as the Pennsylvania Dutch, as the Amish speak. It just depends where you
Right.
grew up. And there for a while it wasn't really cool to speak dialect, but in Germany they're really bringing that back. That it's not a lost
Right.
language. So they encourage the next generation in that area to
To take up the dialect.
yes, they have bands now, really cool bands that sing in dialect and stuff. So
That's cool. I remember in the late '90s, mid 2000s, they were talking about being concerned that PA Dutch would go.
and that would be a shame.
Yeah, I think that it's really rebounded, and I deal with a lot of Amish customers, and they all speak it to their kids, and their kids are all speaking it. And so,
Well,
I don't think
our neighbors, those kids don't even speak English until like Banyuls until
Right.
they go to school. And then, of course, in church they do High German. So these kids have to. But I think most don't understand High German. She said they sit there, but and they can sing the songs, but don't really know exactly what they mean.
What's something you hope CJ remembers about the times that she has spent learning from you?
or skills that you hope she takes with her further into life.
Well, certainly, I would say, how to be self-sufficient. Not that she's self-reliant on herself. That's not what I mean. Certain
Sure.
things but that she knows.
I think
Okay.
even in being self-sufficient, you need to be reliant on other people.
Yeah.
in the
Yes.
end.
Yes. But that she is able to figure things out for herself and not willing to try something because, like canning,
Yeah.
or like you were very resistant to sourdough baking. You thought you would never get it, and now I don't bake because you do it all. Always try something new and always give new foods a try. Try it one time. If you don't like it, maybe a second time, and then you don't have to eat it, but at least be open to try
She is that.
some things. And then as far as traditions, I would really like for her to, we already do the Niklaustag, it's coming up, and we do Christmas Eve, to keep some of those German traditions, because she has some traditions from your side of the family, but I always think if you explore all your roots, I think it helps you realize where you come from and where you're going, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that she could pass that on to her children. Now, there for a while she was interested in German, and that falls away. But there are certain phrases she understands, so and I really love that. So when we're in public and she, absentmindedly puts her finger in her mouth, I can tell her, "Hey, Finger aus dem Mund," and I don't even say it in High German. And she knows what I don't want her to do. You touch stuff and then you put your hand. So I really love that. And when she's older, she might pick up German, but in this country, German doesn't make much sense because you cannot really use it. So it's not something that's very, very crucial. Matter of fact, in Germany, kids have to learn English from kindergarten on, and it's not even your choice.
Right.
You have math, German, and English. That's a must, and then you add your other languages later on. But I think that's what I would like to pass on. And I think the other thing that no matter what, that she's always loved.
And that she is.
Yeah. I think that your servant-heartedness is apparent in CJ.
Oh, yes.
More than anybody else.
She loves to be of help and
I think she gets
others.
I think she gets that from you. Her willingness to jump in at Catherine's funeral and help with the food that's there, and she's running around and helps
always. And
helps at church when there's anything going on at church.
Well, that Super Sunday, she came with. She did all the setting up, water and help in the kitchen. And
she's got a servant's heart for
sure. She has a servant's heart. Yes,
and she got that from you, Erika. And I can say, we just alluded to self-sufficiency, but it at least in our case, it takes a community. And we harvest a deer, and we're blessed to know that, or Dan and Vanessa harvest an animal. You're willing to fly to Wyoming to help them. You're willing to help us with everything in our processes, and we wouldn't know half the things we know if it weren't for you, as far as that stuff goes.
That's what families are for, and what are we here for if we're not helping each other out? Any human being, is here to help another human being. Yeah. So, plus I enjoyed. There are some things you ask me to do I might not enjoy as much. I will still help you, but
you don't complain about it. You just do it.
Yeah.
I hope I don't ask you too much you don't want to do.
No, you don't. And sometimes I do things that you probably don't want me to do. So it goes both ways. But I think my mom was like that.
Yeah, she was.
I always knew my mom always was there for everybody all the time. So
I think back on watching my uncles. We go to the cabin, and I see it in you, and it's one of those qualities that I admire from a generation I feel that is lost or we're losing, in that a boundless energy to complete a task, no matter what the task is. You just head down and do it.
Do what needs to be done.
And you do what needs to be done, and you're willing to help somebody no matter what you have to stop doing. And
you're not going to procrastinate.
Right.
You're not going to put things off.
I'm horrible at it. I'm a natural procrastinator. And it's a generational thing, I think. My brothers, I feel, are the same way. In certain things, at least, but I look back and I just think of the energy you have to spend all day working outside, gardening, picking up sticks, planning what we're planning on the property, and then
long processing,
and then come in and spend the evening prepping meat, with us and all that stuff. And I have so much admiration for that. And I just hope that that's something CJ takes from you, and same with the servant-heartedness. I think she will, and I hope she does. So,
well, thank you for the compliment.
Yeah.
And I think you hit on the point, though. You talk about your uncles, and I think your uncles and my mom, and then us, were raised in a
Similar
what do I want to say? A post-war
Hard times.
mentality. Yeah.
hard times, and depression. All these children that grew up afterwards, there were just certain things that had to be done.
Yeah.
And you did them, and you don't even think about it. So I think it just is a natural thing, maybe not for everybody. You have to be also, created that way.
Yeah, for sure.
So, well, thanks for having me on your program.
We appreciate it very much. This is one of those things that you might not have wanted to do that you did for me anyway.
Yeah, it's not my.
It was
my
fun
thing,
sitting
but-
here
It was
and
very
Yeah.
fun. And I
chatting with you.
people ask, like, what we're getting out of this or what, and I just say having the stories that CJ has somewhere that she can go back and listen and say, what I would give to have the stories that my grandpa told, that my grandpa's told me, recorded somewhere, or my uncles said during deer camp, that I could go back and listen to, and this is something that they can go back and listen to years down the road and have their kids listen to. So I think it's cool.
That's kind of nice. Yes,
Yeah.
we did, like you said, we didn't have that. You have to just pull it from memory.
Yeah.
And stories are only as good as your memory, and it depends who tells it.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Well, thank you very much, Erika.
Well, thanks for having
Yes,
me.
thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. I love you both very much. So,
We love you too.
Sure do.
and thank you all for listening. You can listen in on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or at www.outdoorrules.com. You can also follow along on Facebook or on Instagram at Outdoor Rules. Thanks, everybody.
Hunting and fishing, the great outdoors, mixing history, laughter, love, and folklore, creating memories with family and friends. These are the trophies that matter in the end. Outdoor Rules.